Welcome to part 2 of my weekend review of the Lucky Dog Racing League's event at Portland. Part 1 went over practice and qualifying. For a little bit of a refresher on Lucky Dog qualifying is a 40-minute session split into two parts. The first 20 minutes is A and the fast half of B. The second 20 minutes is the slow part of B and C. Class changes based on speed. It's a whole thing. And I was originally supposed to do part of qualifying because we thought it was just the full 40 minutes of all cars on the track, but because it got split, my teammate Angela ended up doing the qualifying. He put us in the top 15 in C class. I don't know exactly where. There are qualifying results, but we started pretty high in C class in a field of 30 cars, and that put us pretty much halfway through the field on the actual race start. The race was scheduled to start at 10, and at about 9:55 the field went out under pace car to do pace laps, reconnaissance laps, and some memorial laps for a Lucky Dog racer who passed away not very long ago. And at the end of the pace laps, the field is now coming into the green flag. And the green flag is out, and we are underway for our 7-hour race on Saturday. Angelo was the first driver in the car. He took us to the green flag, and through the first hour and 45 minutes or so of the race, he ran pretty clean. He was very fast and brought the car back with no issues. This is a time lapse of our first stop of the race, where Angelo gets out. We put fuel in. I'm on the fire bottle. Second can goes in. Fuel cap goes back on, and then I'm helping put my teammate Dimitro in his seat, cool suit connected, and all that before he goes out to run his stint. Just like in Friday, Dimitro was extremely fast. He set our fastest lap of the day, and what ended up being the fastest lap in C class for almost the entire race until about the last 40 minutes. But he ended up coming in a bit earlier than we expected, which gave me the opportunity to have my first real race stint. And what you're about to see is the cut-up version of the full 6-minute pit stop of refueling and getting me in the car. Fumbling a little bit to put on my gloves because Dimitro was in about 30 minutes earlier than we were expecting. He comes in, putting the catch pan out, and myself with the fire bottle, getting in position, and releasing the window net so we can get out. He puts up the steering wheel, and there goes Brian with the metal spot that our catch pan goes on. Visor's down. I'm going to go grab the fire bottle. He's checking if we're all good, and he's going to go grab our first fuel can, put it in, and cut out the fueling, taking out the second fuel can. He's going to come back. I'm still just standing there with the fire bottle. That's what we'll say we have to do. He's going to put the fuel cap in. Cap's on. And I put the bottle down, take my visor up. Dimitro comes back over the wall, takes out his camera, and is going to help me get strapped in. So Brian's now just checking the radiator. He's going to ask for a water bottle in a second. I'm getting the rest of the straps put on, and
Are we caught? Yeah, I think he's gonna die there. Yeah, he might. Well, too bad. If he dies, he dies. Yeah. More time for me. Oh my gosh, that's great. This is gonna be ready for you. He's gonna drive well.
And here I am about to leave to go for my first ever race stint. I was very excited. I'm also very bad with the manual, so this is a bit embarrassing. Stalled it. Woo! Bypassed us. We're under full course caution right now. Perfectly timed for our stop. And I'm away. What we're looking at right now is onboard of Kachow stint because he took the camera out. Right here, he took the camera out with him. He just put it in his pocket. And so I don't have any onboard of me, but I was in for quite a while, and I'll get to that in a second. I spent the first 20 or so minutes just reacclimatizing to the car. We were having a shifting issue where we had to go into 5th under 5,000 revs, and it was pretty crunchy going in. We weren't sure if the engine was actually going to blow up or if it was just a mechanical issue. I ran 17 laps early in my stint, perfectly error-free, and the reason I'm showing this clip, this is how you're supposed to take turns 10 and 11 and 12. And on my 18th lap, this is what happened to me. Through turn 11, I had a snap of oversteer. I ended up actually facing the track, which was probably for the better because I couldn't turn my head very far to the side to see, and attempting to rejoin it after stalling the car a couple of times, which was quite frankly terrifying. But I ended up running the next 33 laps of my stint completely error-free. I got my GP down to a 140.3, and I was pretty much running 141s for the entire rest of the stint. Now, I said earlier I was going to talk about my stint length. I was originally only supposed to be in for an hour and 45, and as you might have heard during the pit stop clip, I was in for 2 hours. 1 hour and 58 minutes. And it was so close to breaking the 2-hour time limit that Lucky Dog has, that they had a marshal down in our pit box, and they were about to give me the black flag. And for our final stint, we had Josh in the car. He ran completely error-free, a good rest of our stint, and brought our car home. Although for 14 minutes during his stint, we were under red flag because the grass in turn 6, which we just went through, caught fire. But they're in the last 24 minutes under green until about 2 minutes ago when there was an incident, and we finished under caution. So here is the safety car leading the field across the line for the checkered flag at the end of our 7-hour Saturday endurance race. 63 cars started the race on Saturday, 3 cars didn't end up making the grid, and 54 ended up finishing. And it was very cool to run in such a wide variety of cars to actually race against these guys. It was even cooler on Sunday. We'll get to that soon. Steph and Brian ended up swapping the motor in Kachow overnight. So Sunday morning came and the car was having issues. We're not really sure what the problem was, but we ended up missing the green flag by about 20 minutes, which unfortunately the issue persisted. Angelo was in the car again first, and he just kept having problems. He kept bringing it in. But at least we weren't the only car having issues. And it wasn't only the 199 that unfortunately expired. The entire field was having issues. In fact, during the first hour and a half of the race, it got red flagged twice. After the second red flag, we actually had a driver's meeting so that we could get pretty much told off about what was going on. The drivers were passing under yellow, complete abandoned their safety vehicles. Frankly, making the safety crew feel unsafe, which is something that should never happen. After the drivers' meeting, cars refired, went back to a couple pace laps. And we went back to green flag racing. Our car was still having issues, and we were actually getting power cuts from the engine throughout everyone's stints, but Angelo brought it down a couple more times and eventually jumped out, and Josh got in at 11:40 to do his stint. Another red flag came out at about 1:20, which was towards the end of his stint anyway, so he got out, and I got in, and then sat in the car for 20 minutes. We went back yellow at 1:51 in the afternoon, and back green at about 1:53, only spent a couple of laps under pace car, and even though I was dealing with a lot of backfiring and cutouts, and the tires being worn and everything, I was running a lot faster. I had managed to push the braking, especially in turn 1. I had started braking at between the 350 and the 300 board, which was a lot further forward than I was on Friday and Saturday, and I managed to get my PB down. Saturday was a 140.3. Sunday, I had a 137.298. And I spent most of my stint in the 138s, 2 to 3 seconds faster than I had been running on Saturday. I didn't have any off, I didn't have any money shifts, I didn't have any issues. The car was handling pretty well despite the power cuts, and despite a couple of yellow flags, pretty much exactly what's going on here. I was very happy during my stint, and I ran under an hour and 20 minutes today before bringing it in, but it was by far the best stint I had all weekend, and I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I would have stayed out for another 40 minutes if the strategy had been different, but it wasn't. So at 3:05, I brought the car down pit road and handed it over to Dimitri, who was supposed to bring it home for us. But of course, Kachow Racing is a 2-car team. There's Kachow and there's Mia. So what's going on with Mia? Well, on Saturday, Ray, who I don't have a picture of, money shifted from 4th to 3rd in turn 6. So they had to retire. On Sunday, they got stuck in 3rd gear. Physically could not get it out, and they had to retire. Before my stint, Brian, who owns Kachow, told us to, this is a direct quote, run it till it blows up. But Dimitri, who got in the car after me, unfortunately didn't want to blow the car up. So he brought it down pit road with about 40 minutes left in the race, and unfortunately we had to retire the car. And that really brought an end to our weekend. I left the track a little bit before the end of the race because I had a flight home to catch, and we're classified 16th class, which is a bit disappointing considering how strong we are actually running. We were running in 6th in class at one point, but overall it was a fantastic weekend, and I learned so much more than I really would have expected to. In total, I got 4 hours and 4 minutes of track time. I mentioned in part 1 that I did a lot of sim prep before this, and I think without that I generally would have been several seconds further off pace than I was, because by the end of Sunday, I was matching Josh and Angela's pace. I was only a couple seconds off of Dimitro. But there's certain things that it can't teach you, like shifting, how to shift with a damaged transmission, how to manage traffic, how to get lapped. Because that's not something you really do in sim racing. You know, even in endurance races, it's different getting lapped here than it ever was in sim. But if you have a Misu, I genuinely can't recommend actually doing an endurance race, Jam Car, Lucky Dog, Lemons, you know, do something. It's so much fun, and I can't wait to do it. And, you know, I have to extend a huge thank you to Kachow Racing for giving, you know, a sim racer like myself the opportunity to run this. My teammates, Angela, Josh, and Dimitro were fantastic. Especially Angela was great for helping me figure out actual racecraft. Josh and Dimitro were really good at giving some like pointers about how to get faster, and Brian Stephenson from Fabrication built an awesome car, handled really nicely, and I simply can't thank them enough for the opportunity. Amanda and Sean Hoffert were really good with their hospitality that they brought. Sean was part of the crew who was driving Mia during this weekend. So with that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please drop a like, hit subscribe. I mostly post some content, but once I start doing more real racing, I'll post more of that. And thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around so far. Catch you all next time.